Hello students, I am Binita Mondol, your physics teacher at KKM College Jamui, a constituent unit of Munger University. Today I will teach you a very interesting topic which is called the interference of light. Now from 12th class you are familiar with that the light is a form of wave motion and the wave are transverse in character. Now, what happened if two or more waves arrive simultaneously at a space? The interference of light is deal with this question. Before going to the definition of interference, let us know what is the principle of superposition. The principle of superposition states that the resultant displacement of a particle in a medium which is under the action of two or more waves simultaneously is the sum of the displacements of the same particle due to the individual waves. That means if y1 be the displacement of a particle at a point at time t due to one wave and y2 be the displacement of the particle due to another wave at time t, and if the two waves come simultaneously, then the displacement of the particle under the action of the two waves will be y equal to y1 plus minus y2. Why plus minus? This plus minus indicates that the waves are coming in the same direction or not. If the two waves are coming in the same direction, then plus sign occurs, and if it comes in the opposite direction, then minus sign will remain. This is the principle of superposition. Now let us enter into the phenomena of interference of light. Now, when two or more light waves superimpose, the resultant amplitude or intensity is the square of the amplitude. You have to remember that. The resultant in amplitude and intensity in the region of superposition will be different. So in some places the intensity will increase, at some places the intensity will be decrease. This such type of modification in the distribution of light intensity in the region of superposition is called interference of light. If the crest of one wave falls on the trough of another wave, or if the trough of one wave falls on the crest of another wave, the intensity will decrease, and if the crest of one wave falls on the crest of the other, or trough of one wave falls on the trough of other, the intensity will increase. Therefore the intensity will be modified after the superposition of two or more waves. Such a phenomena is scientifically known as interference of light. There are two types of interference. One is constructive interference and another is destructive. When the resultant amplitude is the sum of the amplitudes of the separate waves, then it is called constructive interference. That is, here the intensity will increase. Another is when the resultant amplitude is equal to the difference of the amplitude of the interfering waves. The interference is called destructive interference. The phenomena of interference was first demonstrated by scientist Young by an arrangement shown here. Here he used sunlight as source. S is a pinhole through which sunlight can pass, and S1, S2 are two other pinholes which is equidistant from S, and a screen is placed equidistant from S1, S2. And the sunlight after reaching S1, S2 produces two waves, and after reaching the screen the two waves produce interference pattern which we can see in the screen. This is the arrangement of scientist Young. Now you can if we enlight two candles and try to observe the interference pattern. Is it possible? No, it's not possible. Any two independent sources cannot produce interference. To observe a sustainable, well-defined interference pattern, we have to follow few conditions. Which are the conditions? One first condition is the conditions for sustained interference. The conditions for sustained interference are that the two interfering waves should be coherent. Now, what is the meaning of coherent? That is, the two interfering waves which we will consider, the phase difference between them should be 0 or remain constant with time. The phase should not change with time. If the phase difference between the two waves varies with time, then the waves will be called incoherent waves, and the sources are called incoherent sources. Thus, for sustained interference, we need two coherent interfering waves. Now, in a steady interference pattern, the intensity at any point is like that: I equal to a1 square plus a2 square plus 2a1 a2 cos delta. This expression I will derive in after a few minutes, where a1 a2 are the amplitudes of the two interfering waves and delta is their phase difference. Now, delta is equal to delta 1 plus delta 2, where delta 1 is the initial phase difference between the two interfering waves and delta 2 is the phase difference due to their path difference. Now, the delta 2 is a constant, as the path difference for a particular point remains constant in a time. So, for constant delta, we should have constant delta 1. Therefore, the two interfering waves should be coherent. Okay. Another condition is the two interfering waves must have the same frequency or wavelength. You know the frequency is the inverse of wavelength. Now, if the two light waves are of different frequencies, then their phase difference will continuously vary with time, and we will not get the first condition, that is, we will not get the coherent interfering waves. Another condition is that if the interfering waves are polarized, then they must be in the same state of polarization. This is a very necessary conditions for interference. Are conditions for good observation, that is, we can observe the interference pattern. We have to take the difference, the separation between two sources should be small, and the distance between the screen and the two sources should be large. Okay, and for good contrast, the amplitudes of the two intervening waves should be equal or nearly equal. Okay, and the sources should be very narrow. Why? Because a broad source may be assumed to be composed of a large number of narrow sources, and so each pair of narrow sources will produce their pattern, and there will be a large number of patterns, and overlap of all these patterns will not give us a very good observable interference pattern. That's why we need a very narrow source, and two sources should be monochromatic. Why? Because if we take white light, you know that white light consists of 7 lights. So each light will produce their own pattern, and overlap of all the 7 interfering patterns of 7 lights will decrease the contrast. We will not get very observable fringes in the screen. Okay. Now, till now you have understood what is interference physically. Okay. Now we should do some analytics to understand the phenomena of interference mathematically. That is, we have to deal with few equations and mathematics, blah blah. Okay. Let's start. Now, in the figure you can see that S is a monochromatic narrow light source, and S1 S2 are two similar narrow parallel slits equidistant from S. Now waves arriving at S1 S2 from S will be in phase, and after S1 S2 they will reach at P at the screen and produce interference pattern. Let us assume that A1 and A2 be the amplitudes of the two waves. Okay, then we can write the displacements using a very common wave equation. Y1 equal to A1 sine omega t. A1 is the displacement, now A1 is the amplitude and omega is the angular frequency. Similarly, Y2 equal to A2 sine omega t plus delta. Delta is the phase difference. Okay. Now you have already know the principle of superposition. Then by the principle of superposition, the resultant displacement at P under the action of these two waves will be y equal to y1 plus y2. Let's put the values of y1 and y2, a1 sine omega t plus a2 sine omega t plus delta. In the second term, sine omega t plus delta, we will use the trigonometric formula sine a plus b. Okay, after that we will get this big expression. Now take common sine omega t and in the first term and in cos omega t in the second term. Now let us assume that a1 plus a2 cos delta is equal to capital R cos theta and a2 sin delta is equal to capital R sin theta. And after few steps we will get y equal to R sin omega t plus theta. Okay, therefore the capital R is the amplitude of the resultant wave. Now let us find the expression of capital R. And R cos theta equal to A1 plus A2 cos delta and R sin theta equal to A2 sin delta. Then squaring these two expressions and adding, we will get R square equal to A1 square plus A2 square plus 2A1 A2 cos delta. Now R is the amplitude of the resultant wave. Therefore, R square will be the intensity of the resultant wave, and we want to find the intensity expression of the resultant wave. You can see that the intensity of the resultant wave varies with delta. Therefore, it is not just the sum of the intensities of the individual waves. It varies with delta. Therefore, the two waves are said to interfere. The phase difference delta between the two waves can be written as delta equal to 2 pi by lambda into path difference. The path difference is S2P minus S1P. Okay. Now, let's find the conditions for maximum and minima. You have already know that in the interference pattern we will get maxima somewhere and we will get minima somewhere. That is, somewhere we will get bright fringe and somewhere we will get black fringe. Okay, and these are the maxima and minima. Let's find the conditions for maxima and minima. The intensity expression is I equal to A1 square plus A2 square plus 2A1 A2 cos delta. Now this, you can see from this expression that this will be maximum if we put cos delta equal to 1. When cos delta will be 1? If delta equal to 2n pi, n will be 0, 1, 2, etc. Thus, the path difference can be written as delta equal to 2n lambda by 2, that is n lambda. Okay, therefore the intensity will be maximum when the path difference at the point is an even multiple of lambda by 2. Okay, the maximum means the bright square. The maximum intensity is greater than the sum of the intensity of the separate waves. Now I will be minimum if we put cos delta equal to minus 1. When it will be minus 1? If delta equal to 2n plus 1 pi. Then the path difference will be 2n plus 1 lambda by 2. Thus the intensity will be minimum when the path difference at point P will be the odd multiple of lambda by 2. The minimum intensity is A1 tilde A2 whole square. Why tilde? Because tilde means if I1 is greater than I2, then we have to take A1 minus A2, and if A2 is greater than A1, then we should take A2 minus A1. Okay. Now if the two interfering waves have same amplitude, that is if A1 equal to A2 equal to A, then what will happen? The maximum intensity will be 4A square and the minimum intensity will be 0. You can see the variation of intensity with delta in this figure. Now you can ask me a question that is the conservation of energy is followed here or violated? At the first sight, it may appear that the law of conservation of energy is violated, because somewhere the intensity is 4 square and somewhere the intensity is 0. Then wow, how the conservation energy is obeyed here? For this case, we have to find the average intensity. The average intensity is like that, I equal to, you can see the expression, 2A square. Okay. Thus, somewhere the intensity will be 4A square and somewhere the intensity will be 0. That means the energy is distributed at the maxima. We are thinking that at the minima point the intensity disappears. That's not the reason. The intensity is distributed to the maxima. Thus, someone can think that the law of conservation of energy is violated, but not. The energy is simply redistributed. Okay. For the first lecture, it's enough, and in the next class I will teach you to find the fringe width and etc. Okay, thanks.